Hello everyone, welcome to Knife and Tool Outdoor. This is Devin, and today I'm going to be conducting a tabletop review of the Puma IP Catamount Stag knife. This knife is one of Puma's international production knives, hence the IP in the name. This particular knife is handmade in Spain. The Catamount Stag knife is a full tang, as you can see in the image here, drop point knife made of 440C stainless steel. The knife comes with the sturdy traditional leather sheath. One thing I want to comment on is just the overall feel of this knife. It's a rather lightweight and small fixed blade knife, but still isn't too small that you can't get an adequate grip of the handle. The handle is made of genuine staghorn, which looks and makes the knife into a good looking knife to use as a hunting knife. The handle is secured to the blade by two brass rivets. Contains a Puma medallion in the center of each side and has a hole on the end for a lanyard. The blade itself, as I mentioned, is made out of 440C stainless steel, and it has a Rockwell hardness of 57 to 60. For those of you non-knife enthusiasts, a Rockwell hardness of this level means this knife is mid-range in hardness, but more than adequate for a knife. The blade is very sharp and cuts well. This knife has been used to gut squirrel and other small game, though it would be completely capable to use on larger game such as deer. The blade was able to chop straight through the bones of a squirrel leg without any problems and was adequate in cutting the squirrel in half. The knife, I felt, was best designed for this purpose and is a knife that I usually carry into the woods with me on a regular basis. The Puma IP also comes with a traditional leather sheath, as I mentioned earlier, which I think is appropriate for this style of knife. The sheath itself is made out of pretty quality leather. It has a pretty thick reinforcement on the cutting side, which is something that I think should be pretty much standard in all leather sheaths, as it protects the edge of the blade and keeps the blade edge sharp and won't ruin the sheath over time. The belt loop is pretty sturdy, and it'll allow for the knife to be attached to the belt without, excessive flopping around or anything like that, like some of the cheaper knife sheaths that are out there. The belt loop may wear over time. I've had this knife for over a year now, though, and with regular use, this sheath has held up well. My only major complaint of the sheath is there's no drain hole in the bottom, as you can see, and the sheath will hold water, which can be a problem if it's used as a hunting knife and you're out in the rain. But I think an easy modification for this may be to drill a small hole on the bottom of the sheath. I think that it'd solve that problem by putting a small drain hole down there, and I don't think that would affect the overall quality or sturdiness of the sheath. As with any knife, I want to briefly touch on this knife's ability to be wielded as a weapon. Though not designed to be used as a weapon, there may become a time when you are carrying this knife in which this may be the only option available. Let's face it, when we go hunting, when we go fishing, we're not always carrying a self-defense knife with us, and I think it's important to be able to utilize what we have on us, if the case may be. It should be noted that in any situation, where you can flee a violent encounter, I would highly suggest doing so. In the unlikely event that you don't have the option to run or flee, and this is the only knife available, like any knife, it will do the job. It's worth noting that there is no sufficient guard on the blade here. There's a slight guard, but I don't believe that to be sufficient in any combat situation. Your hand could very easily slip off and onto the blade, injuring yourself, possibly more than you injured the other person. I wouldn't use this as a combat knife, but again, in a violent situation in which you have no other option, you may have to use this. And I would suggest maybe if you do have to use this knife in a survival situation, instead of holding it like that, would be to maybe cup your hand around the end. That way your hand doesn't accidentally slip onto the blade. This knife would be used to create a momentary pause in combat, I think, just enough time for you to get away. It would not be used in a continuous knife battle. I think it's just too, it's not designed for it. I would use it only as a means to escape from a situation. Um, Overall, as a hunting knife, though, I'm very happy with this knife with the Puma IP. Um, I enjoy the overall look and feel of it, and I'll probably continue it to carry for game hunting and skinning. Uh, I enjoy the overall look and feel because I think it's a quality traditional knife. It's just got a great look to it, as many of us outdoorsmen can appreciate the traditional staghorn knives, and I like this knife. I think this knife can be found on the internet in various stores, anywhere from, I'd say, around $50 to $100, and I think it's a good value. I think this particular model I paid about $60 for, and if you look really hard, you should be able to find this knife for around that price range. I couldn't imagine paying a whole lot more than that for this knife, especially when you can find it on the internet if you just look around pretty hard. That's about it. That's about all I have to say about the Puma IP Catamount Stag. I thank you very much for watching, and look forward to my next video, which is going to be a review of the K-Bar Fin, a quality survival and combat knife, and I think you'll all enjoy that. So stick around for that. I just got done testing it, and I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks.